Good afternoon and welcome to the webinar. You are tuned in to Funding Food Sovereignty, Part 1, New Agriculture Lending Opportunity. Thank you so much for joining. This is Oweesta and it's 2 p.m. Mountain Time. I'd like to turn the webinar over to Ms. Tawny Wilson and Ms. Emily Trump with First Nations Oweesta Corporation.
Hi, good afternoon, all of our webinar relatives. Thanks for joining us today on this fine Wednesday as we have a discussion about funding food sovereignty, part 1 of a webinar series that we are building here, a new agricultural lending opportunity we will be discussing today. We're going to go ahead and get started. And if time allows, we actually might get this webinar done a little bit early today. So we will see how that goes depending on how many questions we have. So thank you again for joining us and welcome. Across Indian country, there is a national movement to reclaim and increase access to our traditional food systems to ensure tribal communities have access to healthy and affordable food. Thank you again for joining our webinar today to learn about Oweesta's new exciting agricultural capital loan opportunity for Native CDFIs to support the production, processing, marketing, and/or distribution of agricultural products, including food, fiber, forest products, and horticultural crops. Native Americans are not only the first people of the Americas, but we're also its first farmers. Taking a lead role in local food production means regaining control of the most significant assets we have. Direct management of food supplies will eventually give tribes use of their land, deliberate control of health, sustainability of the environment, and maintenance or revitalization of cultural integrity. Just a few housekeeping tips before we get started. So for this webinar, you will be automatically muted throughout the webinar, which will help eliminate any background noise in elevator or hold music for those of you multitaskers out there who like to travel by elevator and call into webinars and/or make multiple phone calls. If you have any questions or comments, please type those into the chat box or raise your virtual hand if you'd like to be unmuted. Of course, you could raise your physical hand, but we will not be able to see that on our end. This is a groundbreaking webinar, so no doubt you'll be present and possibly even engaged. So let's practice. Okay, guys, you'll see your little Zoom toolbar over on the side there. If you can, go ahead and raise your virtual hand and then lower it. You see how that goes? You raise that virtual hand and then you lower it. Okay. We see you, Barrow, Alaska. We see you, Pine Ridge, South Dakota. And Longmont, Colorado. We see you. Okay, just a quick introduction. My name is Tawny Wilson, and I am a programs officer here at First Nations Oweesta Corporation. I'm an enrolled member of the Sicangu Lakota tribe and was born and raised on the Rosebud Indian Reservation in South Dakota. And I would like to greet you in the Lakota language, and I humbly ask for forgiveness for any Lakota speakers on the webinar, as I am not a first language learner and trying to teach myself. Mpentu washte madakiape, chante washtea nape chiuzapulo. Tawny Wilson, Imachiapi. Taji Ognupa ob Wachikiawi, Sicangu Lakota, Imachiapi. Taya Yahi, Hilamiyape. Good day, my relatives. I greet you with a happy heart. My name is Tawny Wilson, and my Sicangu Lakota name is Praise with the Meadowlark Woman. It is good that you came, and we thank you all. Again, this opportunity that we're presenting to you all today is it's a huge opportunity for our Native CDFIs to have access to ag lending capital. As we know, capital needs are great in Indian country. And so I just want to say thank you again for joining us on our webinar today. And I'm going to turn this over to my colleague, the lovely Miss Emily Trump, so she can go ahead and introduce herself as well.
Hi, my name is Emily Trump. I'm the Lending and Compliance Manager here at Oweesta. And Tani's asked me to join you here today because I take the applications and work with all of our loan clients here at Oweesta, including for our new agricultural product. And we are hoping to make our first loan under this new project here in the next couple of weeks. So hopefully you'll see a proud press release coming out here soon. But I want to assure you that we have not yet lent out all our money, and you are not too late to get in on the ground floor on this. I got my start in the Native CDFI world as the loan officer at Empati Investments, which was a small Native CDFI serving the Crow Creek Reservation in South Dakota. So I'm afraid you have to put up with 2 South Dakota girls here today. We just want to emphasize that we work nationally, even our friends in Alaska and Hawaii, we see you out there. And I think Tani's going to take us through the rest of the webinar, and I'll hop in at the end to talk about really boring loan stuff.
Fantastic, Emily. Thank you so much for that. Yes, so Emily is one of our lending gurus here, and so we definitely want to have the expert on the line with us for any questions that you may have. And of course, you can text those questions. You can enter those questions into the chat box at any time, and we can get those answered by our tech support staff while we're going through our webinar. So back to our question and answer box, or that little chat box there. What organizations are you representing today? So webinar relatives, who are we representing out there? Where are you guys located? Type in the chat box who you are and who you're representing. And again, welcome. Okay. Hi, Sunny over at Yankton, Sioux Tribe. Good to see you on here. Yep, and it looks like we've got quite a few people on here. Excellent. Welcome, John, Chippewa Cree Tribe, the part of the FDIPRA program. We love the food distribution program on Indian reservations. I always like to tell people, don't let the commod bod fool ya. I was raised on commodities, okay? So we support that FDIPRA program so much. In fact, our partner, our parent organization, First Nations Development Institute, actually developed a FDIPRA cookbook based on the new traditional foods. So welcome. All right, we see you, Matt, up in Browning, Montana. Glad to have you on here. How exciting. Okay, and Jessica over at Washoe Tribe, welcome. And let's see, we got Abigail at the Mercy Partnership Fund. Thanks again for jumping on the call today. We sure do appreciate all of you. All right. So since you all are pretty familiar with that chat box and working it very well, we just had a little warm-up question for y'all. Who is interested in expanding into ag lending? And we won't call you out on the call, but we just kind of wanted to see, raise your hand if you could, if you guys are thinking about expanding into ag lending through your organizations.
If there's anyone here who already has an ag program or product, we'd like to hear from you too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Chat box is your friend there, guys. All right, and just a little quick webinar session overview. Today we are going to talk a little bit about Oweesta, what our mission and strategy is. We'll talk about food sovereignty and why it's so important to Native communities creating economic development. We're going to talk about the growing Native agricultural capital needs that exist in Indian country, as well, of course, we'll talk about our new ag loan opportunity and its creation story. So a little bit about Oweesta. We were founded back in 1986 by our parent organization, First Nations Development Institute. They've seen a huge unmet capital lending need in Indian country, and while they are by far the best grant maker out there when it comes to Indian country, they could not fulfill that unmet capital need. And so they went and created Oweesta. There's a few of you may still wonder, what does Oweesta mean? It actually means money in Mohawk. And so that's how we got our name, First Nations Oweesta Corp. So from 1986 to current, we have been a provider of technical assistance and trainings. We lead the charge, if you will, with our Building Native Communities financial education suite of services. We've got our Building Native Communities financial skills for families. We're working on our 5th edition of that. We've also recently rolled out our Building Native Communities financial coaching curriculum. And we are very excited to announce that we will be rolling out our Building Native Communities financial empowerment for teens and young adults in October. So stand by for that, and we'll be actually issuing out a press release so some of you practitioners out there can come and get trained in that curriculum to take it back out to the tribal communities and, of course, engage and empower our youth with that curriculum. In 2005, we started our lending program here at Oweesta. And from 2005 into mid-2017, we made $23 million total in loans made out to Native CDFIs. In 2018, we had a record-breaking year, and we closed $10.8 million of new loans. So we were able to infuse almost $11 million into Indian country for unmet capital needs. That's something we are very proud of. All right, so here at Oweesta, you probably think, gosh, there's probably 100 people that work there. There's 10 of us, actually, and I am very proud to say we keep ourselves busy, that's for sure. Our mission here at Oweesta is to provide opportunities for Native people to develop financial assets and create wealth by assisting in the establishment of strong, permanent institutions and programs, contributing to economic independence and strengthening sovereignty for all Native communities. Our strategy to accomplish these goals is to directly provide Native communities the tools and capital support required for real and sustainable job creation, small business development, real estate development, affordable housing, home ownership, and of course, ag lending is another major component that we have seen a huge unmet need on. Some of our Native CDFIs also offer basic banking services and of course, financial literacy training to underbanked Native communities who have been historically targeted by predatory lending practices. So here at Oweesta, we're the only existing, as of right now, I know there are some amazing organizations that are popping up on our landscape, and we are so happy to support and work with them. But we are the only existing Native CDFI intermediary offering financial products and development services exclusively to Native CDFIs and Native communities. So specifically what we do is we provide training, whether that's through our Building Native Communities, financial education, curriculums, whether that's a more customized training platform like board strategies. We do a lot of strategic planning, and the list goes on and on when it comes to the customized trainings we provide. Also technical assistance, investments, research. We do some policy advocacy work to help our Native communities develop that integrated range of asset building products and services, including, of course, the financial education and the financial products. Asset building tools are greatly important to stimulate reservation economies by providing tribal members the opportunity to acquire financial management skills and build and accumulate assets through the creation of small businesses, home ownership, education, and much more. As of today, we do have 73 certified Native CDFIs out there. I'd clap right now, but that would be just one person clapping. 73, and then we do have 49 Native CDFI network members out there as well. And of course, we do have some emerging Native CDFIs that are working their way to get up to be fully certified. So there may not be a native CDFI in your tribal community, but let's just hope that one will be coming soon. All right, so talking about food sovereignty. What is food sovereignty? What does that mean to you? I found this really cool definition from a First Global Forum on Food Sovereignty from 2007. And it says, food sovereignty is the right of peoples to healthy and culturally appropriate food produced through ecologically sound and sustainable methods, and their right to define their own food in ag systems. It puts the aspirations and needs of those who produce, distribute, and consume food at the heart of food systems and policies rather than the demands of markets and corporations. So food sovereignty is definitely a movement that's growing from the bottom up at the grassroots level, right? So we've got our farmers, our ranchers, our fishermen and women, our indigenous people that are most impacted by hunger and poverty. We're living in these food deserts. So food sovereignty, it goes well beyond ensuring that we have enough food to meet our physical needs. It asserts that tribal communities must reclaim our power in the food system by rebuilding traditional food systems and the relationship between the people and the land. If you have ever heard two of my favorite people speak or read one of their reports at First Nations Development Institute, Dr. Raymond Foxworth and Ade Briones, she's the director of the Native Ag Food Systems Initiative up there. They would say that Native food sovereignty is the right of Natives to produce our own traditional foods on our own lands to sustain ourselves, our families, and our communities. As we know, Native Americans had food sovereignty for thousands of years before European contact in the Americas. And with these Western food systems dramatically changing our people's health for the worse, the time is now to support this movement. And this is why we are so honored to be a small part of getting lending capital into our tribal communities, specifically to fund Native agricultural products, reclaiming our food systems. Why is this so important? Why is it important to grow Native agricultural capital needs? We know for a fact that Native CDFIs almost all unanimously anticipate their lending demand to increase in the next year. Again, there's 73 Native CDFIs out there, and they're all telling us that they see a demand and increase of lending needs. This expectation is grounded in experience. The annual growth in lending volume among Native CDFI capital pool members last year was about 22%. The impact of Native CDFI loan funds on Native communities is extraordinary. We conducted a survey, and the Native CDFI loan funds that responded closed 3,461 loans, lending over $55 million in 2017 alone. So let me say that again. In 2017, our Native CDFIs closed 3,461 loans, lending over $55 million in total. 28 million of that was to individuals or businesses located directly in our tribal communities. And yet, in 2017, we still had unmet capital needs of about 55,831,402. And the need for healthy local food options in Native communities is very well documented. So we know the ag lending capital needs are huge. So when it comes to Native ag, what does that encompass? What does that look like? So we are talking about the production, processing, marketing, and or distributing of ag products, including food, fiber, forest products, and of course, farming crops. Some examples include farming, of course, our ranchers, whether that's cattle, livestock, whether that's buffalo, whether that's sheep, whether that's fish. We've got community gardens is a good example, farmers markets, of course, fisheries, logging operations, hydroponics, farm to table, food trucks, and the list goes on and on. If you have any specific questions about whether an opportunity may fit into that, you can always reach out to us. Okay, so now we want to talk a little bit about this new ag loan opportunity, or the creation story of this opportunity. How did this come to be? So basically, Oweesta, we received a grant from the Native American Agriculture Fund to accomplish this goal of injecting capital into Indian country. So way back in 1999, I know, back when we had horses and wagons and used to do, drive into work that way. That's what my son said, that I must have had to ride with a horse and a wagon back in 99. The Keeps Eagle versus Vilsack class action suit was filed. And basically that lawsuit said that the United States Department of Ag, or USDA, had engaged in discrimination against Native American and farmers and ranchers in loan programs and servicing of the loans dating back to 1981. I'm going to go ahead and age myself, but I was born in 1977. And I grew up with a father who was a rancher. And every year he would make it down to the FSA, or the Farm Service Agency, and he would go see the director of that agency, and her name was Betsy. I'll never forget that. And he would apply for a loan to feed the cows. He would apply for drought relief. He would apply for blizzard relief. Everything all the other ranchers in the area were applying for, and he would always be denied. And Dad absolutely 100% believed that was because he was Native American. And I think he believed that because the units surrounding the unit he had were non-minority ranchers, and they would always receive these loans and these, this relief that would happen to everybody across the board. And so growing up with this happening, this was a part of our lives. This was definitely a part of our lives. Well, in 2010, after more than a decade of litigation, the federal government and the parties finally agreed to a settlement. So the original settlement resulted in the creation of a $680 million compensation fund. There was some debt relief rolled in there, tax relief, and then the claims process began. 3,600 Native farmers and ranchers applied for that. Well, there were more than that, but these were the ones that were approved under this class action lawsuit. So after lots of negotiation, a second compensation payment was sent out, and this fast track came to be. And that's where the Native American Agriculture Fund came into place. And because of that fast track fund, they had to get $38 million of this lawsuit out into nonprofits or any other eligible organizations to support Native farmers and ranchers. And that's exactly what we're doing here at Oweesta. I look at this money as a way to help all of our people that have been discriminated against for so long. And every single dollar matters to us here at Oweesta. And so we're looking at this in a way, how many people can we help? How far does $1 million in lending capital even go? And so, yeah, that's what we're looking at here. So this is our creation story of our new ag lending product. And Native American Ag Fund, their motto is feeding our people, growing our economies, and building our future. We couldn't be more grateful to them for what they've set up and all the amazing work that the grantees that have received the fast track money are doing. And so what are we doing over here at Oweesta? We're getting out capital lending. And so quick question, does your Native institution need loan capital right now? So we work directly with Native CDFIs, other tribal or Native controlled nonprofit loan funds, okay? We are unable to lend directly to individuals and businesses, but wait, if you happen to be on the webinar and you're a Native farmer, rancher, fisherman, a community member, or a business, don't worry. We may not be able to lend directly to you as an individual or a business, but we can definitely help connect you with a local, regional, or even a national CDFI or Native CDFI that hopefully can assist you in moving your agribusiness forward. We want to make sure that everybody has an opportunity to get their businesses moving forward. So I just pulled up a quick map here, guys. If you, maybe you're not a Native CDFI, but you are in need of an ag lending product, we have CDFIs all across the country. Of course, there's 73 of them specifically are Native CDFIs set up near or on tribal communities, but you can work with any CDFI across the country. And CDFI's job is to work to provide affordable, responsible credit, create and help sustain jobs and stabilize communities. I've heard this said at a convening. It's like financing with heart, and that really stood out to me. So if you take a look at this map of all the CDFIs across the country, there probably is one out there that may meet your needs. So again, please reach out to us and let us know if that's something we can help. We would love to connect you to whatever person, organization that can help move your agribusiness forward. We've got the little link at the bottom. If you want to pull this up on your own, you can go to the website www.ofn.org/CDFI-locator to find the closest one near you. All right, so we're going to turn this over to Miss Emily, again, our lending guru here, to talk about Oweesta's current lending products, and then we're going to take a deeper dive into our new agricultural loan.
Thanks, Tani. So our philosophy here at Oweesta is that local institutions, whether that's your CDFI or your tribal loan fund, that you know best how to meet the needs of your community members and your borrowers. So when we design our loan products, we try to put as few strings on those as possible. We want to make this, really fit your needs. And if you do have loan capital from other sources that are a little more constricted, Oweesta can be a great way to fill in the gaps there and meet needs that it's difficult to meet in other places. We do have restrictions on some of our own funding, so we're often shifting money around, trying to find something that is the right fit for you geographically, or we're looking at the money we received from Keep Seagull to try and support farmers and ranchers. But also, we want you to know that if you have a loan product that does not fit perfectly into this new agricultural fund, we have money available for other purposes too. So just a quick little plug there. If you want to talk about agriculture and housing, we can have that conversation as well. Our application process, there's a single application process for all of our loan products. So you would give me a call or shoot me an email, emily@oweesta.org, and I can set you up with our online portal system where we accept applications all year round and any time of day or night. Please don't call me at 2 a.m., but you can certainly work on your loan application at 2 a.m. If you've never applied for a loan from Oweesta before, it's a little bit similar to applying for a grant, except that one, there are no deadlines. Two, we don't ask you to write some big long narrative about how much you need the money. We know you need the money. What we want from you are the materials that you already have on hand. We want to see financial statements. We want to see your portfolio statements, your delinquencies, loan policies. We're going to get all up in your business. But it comes from a place of knowing that local CDFIs know what they're doing. We're just trying to assess you as an organization and say, where can we help you? Where can we assist you? Because we are a CDFI too, which means that our loans come with technical assistance, come with help. And so you never have to be afraid that Oweesta is going to shut you down just because your application isn't quite there yet. We will work with you to get you to a place where you're ready for a loan. So just to introduce a little bit about our existing products, we divide our loans into two categories, capital loans and first-in loans. there isn't a huge difference between these two. It's just that capital loans are larger. They're designed for our more established native CDFIs that need larger amounts of capital. And because of that, we can offer a little more attractive interest rates, a little bit longer term. We go up to 5 years. Then the first-in loans are for our newer groups who don't need quite as much capital yet. And though that product is really nice because assuming you continue to perform well as an organization, we can usually renew those loans on a continual basis. The capital loans come with principal repayment over the course of the loan. So those are the big differences between those two. And I know that we have CDFIs out there right now who are using Oweesta loan capital to make agricultural loans. But what we kept hearing was that our loan products weren't a great fit because a lot of agriculture loans need longer term capital. It takes time, you know that you're not going to bring a calf to market in 2 months. So cash flow is different for an ag loan, and usually, looking for that longer term capital. So when we received the Keepsigle fund, we were so excited because here we had capital that was not costing us anything. And so we're able to offer much lower interest rates between the federal funds rate -1 to federal funds rate +1, which currently puts us somewhere between 1.25% and 3.25% for up to 10 years on this agriculture loan. And the only string there is that it is restricted to agricultural purposes. But again, because we believe that you know what your community needs, and because we look at this from the perspective of not just supporting agriculture, but supporting food sovereignty, this is defined extremely broadly. You can see it right there in the description. We will work with farmers, we will work with ranchers, with fishermen, and we will work all through the food system from production to processing to distribution. Because in order to become truly sovereign in control of the food system, communities need to be able to control that whole system. So we are really excited and looking forward to working with our first ag loans. It does look like our first loan is going to be in support of fisheries. So we're fishermen, and we're very excited because financing for fishing boats is very difficult. It's hard to find that long-term capital for such a large purchase. So we're really excited to be involved in that.
Yes, so and what Emily's talking about is we currently do have an ag loan in the pipeline for a fisherman up in the North Pacific area who's looking to expand on his fishery. And so we are hoping to get that ag loan approved and out of our pipeline here in the very near future. And we will be closing on a $300,000 loan with this fisherman, which is a life-changing opportunity to break generations of, of poverty and whatnot. And so this is a huge opportunity, and we're just so excited that it's available to Indian country. Some of you may be out there and doing ag lending already, and you might wonder, well, what's this funding food sovereignty? What is that all about? So our ag loan opportunity, the way we look at this is if we get the capital into Indian country, the hopes are that our food systems will stay in Indian country, right? And so sometimes that takes some policy work. Does the tribe have food codes that are up to date? And there's a lot more that goes into that, but we're looking at this from the perspective of it infusing capital lending into Indian country through ag loans can create, maybe it's a healthy food truck, you know, maybe it's like that fisherman up in the northern Pacific Northwest who wants to expand his business and change his whole family's financial dynamic. Maybe it's the guy who, you know, has been cooking out of his home for years and years, wants to start a food business on the reservation, things like that. So there's so much opportunity. There's, you know, this involves timber, this involves, gosh, just about any kind of ag opportunity you can think of. And so we're just really, really excited to be rolling this out. And I'm sure you are too. In fact, I can feel it. It's like the webinar crowd is going wild. I would like to say the gal in the little red trunks there was me as a contortionist, but that would not be the truth. But I imagine you all going wild right now. And so just a quick polling question, guys. You can answer in your chat window there. Are you interested in applying for this new ag lending opportunity? You're going to see a poll pop up here. And it's saying, are you interested in applying for this new ag lending opportunity? You have a yes, definitely option of looking into it, maybe, not right now, or definitely not for me. If you could just answer that poll, that would be fantastic. If you are indeed interested in this new ag lending opportunity, we will be reaching out to you within the next few days or so to see how we can
best assist you.
Best assist you and make this connection. Absolutely.
And while you're all answering that question, I saw we had a great question from Abigail over at Mercy Partnership Services, and thank you, Abigail, for your support of Oweesta. Question was, will this agricultural product continue to be available when the grant money runs out? So yes, you know, you don't have to read between the lines too much to see that some of the terms we're offering, really we can only support if we have grant funding. But the good news is we're committed as an organization to continuing our support of agriculture and food sovereignty. And we're really hoping that this launch is going to be the demonstration we need to raise additional funds for agricultural lending. We have a lot of irons in the fire, so to speak, along those lines. But you know, a good grant maker knows that they want to see a little bit of results before they start pouring large amounts of money into a project. So we're extremely optimistic about this. If we didn't receive grant funding going forward, we have, you know, general funding that's available for loans, and we would hope to be able to offer at least, you know, slightly improved rates and terms for our ag product, because we know that is such a great need. But yes, our plan is to be able to continue this past the distribution of this initial funding from TCDFI.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, Emily. We wanted to leave you guys with this quote here by Mr. Kevin Walker. He's the president and CEO of the Northwest Area Foundation, and they are such a huge supporter of the work that Oweesta does. He had made this statement: Native CDFI success stories have generated a lot of curiosity from my non-Native peers in philanthropy. They wonder if we've discovered a secret to sparking economic opportunity in communities where the deck has been stacked against people's life chances for generations. I love this quote because I couldn't agree with it anymore. One thing about Indian country or Native communities that a lot of non-Native folks may know is that when given a chance, we can leverage $1 and turn it into $10, right? And we see this time and time again, whether it's through First Nations Development Institute and the amazing grantees that we work with, or whether it's here at First Nations Oweesta Corporation and these amazing Native CDFIs that we work with. You give them an opportunity, you give them a small grant, a small capital lending pool of money, and they will use that money and leverage not only the resources, but they leverage people, departments across the tribe. It's absolutely amazing. And so I had to leave you with this quote by Mr. Kevin Walker because I could not agree more. The decks may be stacked against our communities, but yet there is a secret to what we can make happen when given the chance. So in short, Native CDFIs are financially sustainable institutions doing amazing work. And those of you that are on the call, my heart is with you. We support you and love you all so much. And so, yeah, we just want to say thank you for all the work that you're doing, and to our Native partners, to our Native farmers and ranchers, don't give up. Keep doing the work you're doing. And if you need anything from Oweesta, we may lend directly to Native CDFIs and tribal loan funds, but we're here for you. And so if there's anything you need, reach out to us and we can try to connect you to the right CDFI, whatever you're looking to do to move yourself forward. So come join our movement. Whenever you're ready, we are here. We do have a little bit of time, guys, so if there's any questions that you have, like these happy little ladies here, just go ahead and type it on into the chat box. You can raise your virtual hand. Of course, your physical hand as well, just we won't be able to see that. And so it looks like we had some really good questions coming in throughout the webinar. We want to thank our amazing Miss Steph Cote. There's not a thing this lady cannot do for answering questions while we've been going through. Okay, and it looks like we have quite a few questions coming from our Hawaii folks. And yes, we are going to get those answers over to you. You will be able to get a copy of the presentation, absolutely. We will make that available, as well as the recording of the webinar as well. That is absolutely an option. And so we'll circle back and make sure we get all those questions answered. And of course, we have to plug Oweesta. Like us on Facebook, on Twitter. If you guys are all tweets, you like to tweet. I don't do that. But please go ahead and do that. Of course, you could subscribe to our newsletter at oweesta.org to get all the latest up-to-date announcements that come out and all this amazing good stuff, these opportunities that we have. And then, of course, our contact information. If you have any specific detailed questions about the loan opportunity, reach out to Emily or myself. And of course, there's our info there, Emily at oweesta.org, Tani at oweesta.org, and then our phone numbers. And again, we just want to say thank you to all of you for joining us today. And we appreciate you all so much. And we're here for you should you need anything. May the Creator walk with you on this journey. Thank you again. Goodbye.